O-line. I get it. And I get that A.J. Brown's important or Devontae Smith. But Philly doesn't have a point in the first quarter. Everybody does. Bad offenses do. And I understand also that some coaches are more tied to their play sheet. Kyle Shanahan loves that play sheet. He's brilliant. Some coaches like the adjustments at half. I get that. I totally get it. But it feels like to me, Matt, there's a hole in Sirianni of the prep up to. So, I mean, some teams are just, frankly, very good in the first quarter in the first two series. I mean, Shane Steichen, historically, he's very good in the first two series. What does it tell me when this team can't, with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts and in the first couple of weeks a healthy O-line, not a point? Is it preparation? Is it a bad play sheet? What is that?
Well, it's all of those things. I mean, Philly fans know this was the team that was the best in football to start games. That's what they were known for. They had an identity. People feared them. It's 1st and 10 for the whole league. It's like 1st and 8 for Philly because they got the tush push.
Right.
Now they don't even really trust it themselves. So I think there's been a good amount of turnover. Obviously the coordinators, you lose your Hall of Fame center, you lose some pieces. And I think as a quarterback, sometimes when you lose like your guy or the guy that you really trust or the person in your ear or the guy that you're spending all your time with, it can be a little bit of an adjustment. And sometimes it can be a little bit, you're caught in no man's land. Like, hey, my previous coach told me this, my new coach is telling me that. And, I've had a lot of different coaches, like, how do I handle that situation? So this just looks like a team that you don't recognize, but I don't think Philly fans are super surprised by the result in Tampa. Like, I don't think the Eagles fans, and that's a knowledgeable fan base. I think they going into that game said, our quarterback doesn't look like our quarterback. Our run game doesn't look like our run game. We have a little bit of hope because Saquon, we know what he can be, but like, I don't think they figured that out yet. And so, yeah, this is a team that's a little bit fractured right now, and they got to figure it out.
Sometimes you get the perfect coaching staff. I could argue when they had Nick Sirianni, and they had the other coordinator now at Arizona. But those coordinators are going to leave. And I look at Minnesota, and do I buy them? Yes.
Okay. He's going to talk about Minnesota Vikings. Let's talk Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, I think what Hasselbeck was saying was both partly true, partly sounds like he didn't watch a lot of Philadelphia Eagles stuff because he was just kind of just saying stuff, and it was like, is that really actually like your honest evaluation of what's going on with Philly? It just kind of feels like football, of course, obviously better than me, but it was just kind of like he was shooting from the hip there. Personally, that was just my read. It was just like, yeah, I'm not really watching a lot of Philadelphia Eagles, but like, yeah, they're not looking too good. They lost Kelsey, and they got some new coordinators, and the run game doesn't look the same. Well, the run game has been actually really good lately, so that's where I'm just like, Saquon's been great for the Eagles, so not entirely sure, but yeah, listen. And I think one of the big things that stood out to me, what Matt Hasselbeck said when he was like, listen, you take away all these comfortabilities, all these comforts for Jalen Hurts, and it's going to be a problem, right? He has a revolving door at this point of coordinators and coaching, and he has to learn stuff, unlearn stuff, learn stuff, and he loses the dependable, right? He lost Kelsey, which I think was obviously a big deal, but that's not really been the issue that's plaguing the Eagles. But then you lose AJ, then you lose Devontae, right? Like, then you're losing multiple offensive linemen, and it just becomes too much to overcome. I've already highlighted this in multiple clips, and I won't keep doing it, but I'll just say we've seen Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay and the Rams suffer when they're down their wide receivers, right? Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and that O-line, right? They get decimated by the Arizona Cardinals, who quite frankly don't really look all that scary because they just got dominated by the Washington Commanders, right? We've seen Justin Herbert and Harbaugh really barely able to do anything offensively. Like, they're really just relying on the run game. Herbert's not lighting the world on fire, and that's with Harbaugh and Herbert. Mahomes and Andy Reid, right? The elite duo, the greatest duo in my mind, the GOAT duo, quarterback, head coach duo. And yet Mahomes' numbers are just going bad and bad and bad and bad and bad and bad. I mean, Mahomes is not even playing like a top 10 quarterback right now. I mean, it's just wild. They're winning, but that's really because of defense, right? They won that game 17-10 against the yesterday, the other day against the San Diego Chargers, the LA Chargers. But again, that was because like Herbert couldn't get anything else going, and again, they put up 10 points. You could blame the defense, or you could just say the Herbert and Harbaugh just weren't really that good. And so like those are the things that's going to happen, right? That decimated team for the Rams ended up beating the 49ers, who also were missing their pieces, who were missing Kittle and Debo, and I think someone else. Christian McCaffrey, of course. And that's with Shanahan as the head coach. And so that's really been my prevailing argument, that we see these great coach-quarterback duos unable to overcome when you're missing that many weapons. If it didn't matter, then you wouldn't pay these wide receivers, these offensive linemen, these weapons so much money. You would say, we don't need Justin Jefferson. Whatever. We'll move on. We'll go draft a wide receiver. Right? Like that, but that's not what they do. Because they're really, 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 really important. Really important. Even when you have an amazing head coach like Andy Reid and an amazing quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, they find a way, but they are the GOATs. So again, what standard are we talking about? So that's why I just think the criticism is just too heavy and too harsh. If the Eagles, and this is what I guess I'll just have to keep saying until they play again, if the Eagles were full strength with A.J. Brown, Devonta, and company, and they looked this bad, that would be incredibly alarming. That would say there is some serious issues here. And I do think Nick Sirianni is a serious issue, whether they're able to succeed or not. But the truth is, we only got to see them in that first game. And again, someone said, well, yeah, the Rams were able to find a way to win. They beat the 49ers or whatever, and the 49ers found a way to be able to beat some of these other teams. And Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles found a way to beat the Saints, the hottest team at that time, right? And they had that Falcons game, and it was just a drop pass. Those things happen, which I also defended back then. That wasn't the end of the road. It was an unfortunate situation, but they definitely could have won that game. And up to this game, Jalen Hurts was second in total offensive production and total yards, passing and running combined. Second in the league. So it's like, what else do you want from him at that point? He's doing everything he can. The Philadelphia Eagles right now are just held together with, not even duct tape, scotch tape. And it just becomes too tough. And this game obviously got out of control because you're going 3 and out. You're having a muff punt, which means the defense is just, someone in the comment section told me that they were at this game, and they said people in the stands were like passing out, vomiting. They were getting sick. They said it was just brutal. They said even on the announcements that on the field, it's like 108 degrees, that it's just absolutely brutal out there. And again, the Eagles had players, especially defensive players, going in and out in the blue tent, again, throwing up, just sick, cramps. And cramps, people think cramps are like, I just got like a cramp. No, real cramps are when it feels like your muscle's about to explode. As someone who's had all these type of issues, you literally fantasize, I'm just gonna cut my limb off, man. I don't even care. Just remove it. Like that's how much in pain you can be in. It's like, no, I don't care. Just take it off. Just cut it off, man. I can't deal with it. Like it's brutal, right? It's your body's just seizing. Your muscles are just seizing. So it's a real thing that happens. It's not just I feel a little bit in my leg or my abs. It's not what it is. It's brutal. And that's what the Eagles were experiencing. So again, you would like them to look better in this situation. You'd like them to look a little bit more resilient. But it's just, unfortunate circumstance that this is how it all unfolded. Like I keep saying as well, it just feels like it's a death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's just very bad luck with coming off of the end of a bad season, the end of a bad season last year, right? You get the new coordinators, you add the weapons. Their offense looked electric versus the Packers. It was like, hear me coming, let's go. And then there was injuries that came about. And the team just had to change and evolve. And now you're having Kellen Moore now have to kind of be like, well, wait a second. I came in here to run this offense, and I don't got AJ. I don't got Devontae. Like, what's, like it just becomes a very, very, very tall task. Very. So I'm just excited to see what this team looks like post-bye. I think the defense will be better. I think the offense will be better. And I truly, truly believe that Jalen Hurts will look better. And I think the Eagles will still be fighting to win the NFC East and be a legitimate playoff contender. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles and pretty much all their woes? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.